Okay, I'm going to try to keep this as brief as I can, but I want to talk through the foundational questions that are on pages 263 and 264 because they lead to all of the theories that are discussed. The other major thing that I want you to note is these theories we can trace back to pre-World War I, and what we're really seeing are the ways that world wars and just the intermixing of people and cultures and beliefs leads to a need to connect how we know to our culture, and then how culture informs us about the way that we should know and what we should know and what we should like. All of that's connected, okay? And these questions are a really solid way to get through that. So I have an example to talk through with the questions. So the first question, what ideologies are implied in rhetorical artifacts? So we are now calling these rhetorical artifacts, and we're moving beyond the idea of just a text with words. So I've obviously got a text with words here, but I have a rhetorical artifact. This is Wonder Woman, and she is made of Legos. So if we start talking about ideologies, Wonder Woman is a symbol of feminism to a huge extent, but Wonder Woman, especially the actresses that have always portrayed her, are also very specific versions of beauty in women. Dark hair is not always seen as the right beauty. Usually it's blonde, especially or specifically in American culture, in American actress culture. So the ideologies are really, really complicated when it comes to Wonder Woman. Additionally, and to complicate this further, which is the whole point of critical rhetoric, Wonder Woman is made of Legos. I don't know if you can tell, but she's one of the Lego figures that you put together. Legos are a traditionally, and I'm doing it in quotes very purposely, they're a traditionally boy toy or masculine toy because they lead to engineering thinking and systems thinking and all of these ways of thinking that are valued in male thinking and not female thinking. And so to a huge extent, Lego having figures like this that are Wonder Woman, that are very female forward and very feminist friendly in a traditionally understood boy toy is undermining the dominant understanding, and it is a way of subverting what boys are supposed to like and what girls are supposed to like, or what men are supposed to like and women are supposed to like. And I would say Lego's got even further with like the flower lines and the succulent line. I also have the succulent lines, they're so cute. We're a huge Lego house, huge, we love Legos. So Lego as a company has values. This figure as a character in pop culture has values, and then we mesh the two together and we come up with a new understanding. Then I put this together with my child, and so how we collaborated on that and how Legos can be collaborative but not always, there's a whole lot going on there. So if we start talking ideologies, because we're looking what are the ideologies implied, there's not just one ideology implied here, there are multiple, and there are multiple expectations for what we're supposed to know to start to unpack those. That's what this whole chapter is about. Okay, question 2. Who is best served by these ideologies? Because so much of this is based in Marxism, the answer is always capitalism and patriarchy. I would argue in this case, Lego is undermining some of the dominant patriarchal values by saying these are for women too, or these are for girls too, and they do have a girl-specific line, but they have, girl-friendly or female-forward in their typical line as well, like this one. But who is best served by this? This is still a piece of capitalism. I purchased a kit and put it together, and I purchased multiple kits because my child is obsessed with Legos. So we have hundreds and hundreds of dollars of Legos. Very capitalist. I'm still serving that capitalist model, and we're still justifying it with, but it's educational and it takes certain types of thinking that are really powerful, and so we like all of that. The next one, who does not benefit from these ideologies? Okay, if we're looking at capitalism because that's who we think this serves, Legos are not cheap. They are very middle class and upper middle class and upper class toys because they are not cheap. But there are knockoff systems that are more affordable, and there are ways of finding them on the secondhand market, but they take time and energy and resources that some lower income people might not have. And so who is being served by an artifact like this? Because I purchased it new and I was able to find it with all of the pieces. I mean, all of the pieces in this case are intact. That's because it's new, because they were all there. Lego's done a great job with the secondhand market of finding ways to do this. There are a couple of different stores around the Lancaster County area that also sell kits that are all put together, or individual pieces if you're missing pieces. So there are ways of making this more affordable and accessible to really get to who is not benefiting, but just straight up, these are expensive. So lower class incomes are not being benefited by this particular rhetorical artifact. Okay, next one, so now we're on to 264. What hegemonic messages are present? Okay, so hegemonic is a big word, it's hegemonic. Hegemonic is the way that culture gets us to buy into the same belief system. If I say Lego just anywhere, like if this was not Wonder Woman and it was one of the many other Legos that I have on my shelves, we think of Legos as building blocks. And we think of the building blocks and the patterns and the design and the putting together as the basics of engineering. And so we, in continuing to forward that and in continuing to give them to little kids and to continuing to have them as sets that you put together and that you play with and that they serve a function of play, we're both, from a hegemony standpoint, reinforcing that engineering thinking is the way to think. It's a more important or a more valued way of thinking. We are also reinforcing, I'm not good at talking with my hands when I'm holding something that I don't want to break. We're also reinforcing from a hegemonic perspective that, oh no, I've lost it. Okay, we're gonna go on to the next one until I come up with it. So how many people interpret the messages counter-hegemonically? So how can we read against the dominant hegemony? So if these are teaching us that engineering thinking is the valued approach to thinking, play, that was where I was going. Okay, so we use this for the sorry, my cold is just words. So hegemonic. Legos at their heart, at their basis, are to reinforce engineering thinking. If I think about it counter-hegemonically, I can think about it from play. So one of my particular areas of interest is play and what we can do with play to build better mindsets, and then how we can use those mindsets specifically around writing to be better writers and to not hate writing so much, because it's rough when people are like, I struggle with writing and I'm really bad at it. That is a mindset, and we need to overcome that mindset for this to be more productive. Okay, so if we think about this counter-hegemonically, when we look at something like Lego and then we play with it, or we think about play, or we talk about play, or somebody like me brings in playful elements to her office. I mean, last week I had dice, right? I still have my dice. They don't go anywhere. But when I bring in play, play is a thing. It's a way of being. It is a mindset that we devalue in society. Only kids play, which is not true, because most of us play video games, especially on our phones. We think of play as this thing that happens over there. It's only very specific people. But then we bring in rhetorical artifacts like this, where honestly, all of us, in bringing toys to our office, or in turning little, this is one of the screen wipers, turning little functional items into playful rhetorical artifacts, we are subverting the dominant culture of seriousness at work by inserting play. So we're being counter-hegemonical by saying work doesn't just have to be hard. Work can be playful. It can include play elements, and the inclusion of those play elements are subversions of the American mindset of overwork. Okay, those are the questions that form the baseline. I wanted to give you an artifact because this connects to your discussion. It connects to everything that you're reading about. So if you have questions about this, send me a note, come to office hours, send me an email. I'm here to help.